absolutely mental from Jamie Carragher. What does he want us to do? Does he want Newcastle to go over there and get Sandro Tonali to log into his Sky Bet account before we sign him? What are you about to sign the contract, right, Sandro? Oh, wait there, Sandro. Look at your Bet365, son. Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Now then, I put out this tweet earlier today in response to the Overlaps video that they released today, their episode Stick to Football. I'm telling you what, Jamie Carragher needs to stick to Liverpool, at best, because what he said about Newcastle United and Sandro Tonali today is absolutely mental. And I will get into it, I will rant about it, it will be one of those ones, people. He's liked him in the past on Ashley and Bruce. Thankfully there's not much ranting to do anymore on Newcastle United because we're a well-run club. Not according to Jamie Carragher. Not what he's happy with anyway. What he had to say today was a bit bonkers in my eyes. But I've been on the Overlap before. Listen, I'm a fan of the Overlap show. That's why I was watching the video on YouTube, and I've been on there myself. I've met Gary, I've met Jamie, and they were both sound. But that's not going to withstand me from having a go at them right now. Obviously, Jamie. Gary, he was arid. He didn't say anything. But, you know, it's not going to stop me from saying how I truly feel. That's why you like the channel. That's why you follow me. I think it is because I'm no nonsense. I'll say it how it is. Sometimes people whinge at it. Sometimes people say, oh, you're being over the top. You're doing this or you're doing that. I don't care. People like the honesty and I'm always going to be honest. There's no beating around the bush for me. I'll say my opinion and I'll say it on this and I will be hitting back at Jamie Carragher because I put this out, like I said, on our social media. I thought before I do a video, let's just see what the reactions say, because we have got a live show planned at 7 PM tonight. A Chelsea preview, and there's a lot to do in my busy day, but I thought, you know how it is, we've got to jump on here quickly and talk about this, because you've been asking my opinion on it, I put it out there, and at the end of the tweet, to be fair, I said, ridiculous take. And it is an absolutely ridiculous take by Jamie Carragher. So, what Carragher came out today was said it was a topic of discussion on Stick to Football on the Overlap channel, where Gary Neville raised the discussion of whether or not the ban should have happened to stop Premier League teams signing players from their associated clubs and also the front of shirt sponsors. That ban was denied. They needed one more Premier League club to vote to bring that temporary ban in for January. It didn't happen. There was only 13 teams that voted. They needed 14. So the ban is not happening now, which means Newcastle United are free to sign players from Saudi Arabia in January. And a lot of the talk has been that Newcastle will look to sign Ruben Neves to cover the suspension of Sandro Tonali, who has a 10-month suspension from playing football due to a gambling addiction, which went back to his AC Milan days, where he had placed several bets on his own team. We've heard about all that. I've done videos on Sandro Tonali before. We don't really need to go in depth of what his ban is and why it is. But anyways, they were talking about this, and funny enough, the mad thing about this is that they had David Ornstein on there from The Athletic, very, very good, and everyone's talking about Neves. No one else is talking about anybody else potentially signing someone from their associated clubs. It's all to do with Newcastle. The ban was literally put into place to stop little old Newcastle trying to break into that top 4 again, top 6. By the big bullied 6, which Gary Neville said himself, the big 6 are bullies, with Everton's point deduction and how nothing has been sorted for Chelsea or Man City yet. But this whole temporary ban on transfers was literally to stop Newcastle in January, because you've seen all the headlines. BBC literally had it as their headline, Newcastle in a picture of Neves. The Athletic are reporting that Newcastle are not interested in signing Ruben Neves, and they are normally pretty spot on with everything. It wouldn't make sense for us to obviously go in, get Neves in on loan, get someone in on loan to replace Sandro Tonali, especially while he is suspended. Whether we do that or not, this was all focused around whether that should exist, whether that ban should have came in place. Was it right that it got denied? I think most of them around that table, Ian Wright, Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher and David Ornstein, were pretty much suggesting that it should be, because they were saying it was a manoeuvre to get around financial fair play and that it was a cheat code of signing players and it shouldn't have been allowed, and they're not happy that it didn't get banned, that Newcastle can still sign players from Saudi. Jamie Carragher said this. Jamie Carragher said, Newcastle United paid a lot of money for Sandro Tonali without doing the proper due diligence. Without doing the proper due diligence. Newcastle didn't do the job properly, Jamie Carragher says. He said that we've made that mistake, Newcastle made that mistake, and they should be punished for it. They should pay for the fact that they didn't do their job properly, didn't do due diligence, and now they're going to have to suffer with Sandro Tonali being sidelined for 10 months for a gambling addiction, and they shouldn't be allowed to replace him with someone like Ruben Neves on loan in January. ridiculous. Absolutely mental from Jamie Carragher. What does he want us to do? Does he want Newcastle to go over there and get Sandro to Tonali to log into his Sky Bet account before we sign him? What are you about to sign the contract, right, Sandro? Oh, wait there, Sandro. Look at your Bet365, son. Huh? Because look at your search history. What's that? No. Doesn't matter. What the hell are you meant to do to stop that from happening? How are you going to go in there and do proper due diligence on someone's personal life? You're never going to know what's happening. Because you know why, Jamie? He was hiding an addiction. Or with Jamie suggesting that we didn't do due diligence, what, are AC Milan going to come out and tell her, oh, by the way, that 55 million you're about to spend on him, wouldn't do it if I was you. He's going to be banned for 10 months soon. Now, the still thing is did AC Milan know? We don't know yet. Hopefully Newcastle's lawyers or someone is investigating that, and we'll find that out in the future. But Tonali was obviously holding his habit. You know, he was holding his gambling addiction. He didn't want anyone to know about it. What you wouldn't even have got anyway. Now you took your phone off him. What are you going to do? What does he want us to do? Slap a lie detector on him, and we're going to ask him oh, you're an alcoholic? Are you a gambler? Do you like a bit of sniff on the weekends? What's Sandro going to say to that? Jamie, you're not going to come out and be like, oh, yep, or the lie detector's on. Do you like a bit of beak on the weekend, do you, Sandro? Do you have the strippers? No. Beep, 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 beep. What are you going to do? How are you actually going to know the crack with this? You're not, are you? It's absolutely ridiculous from Jamie Carragher saying we didn't do the due diligence. How are you ever going to find out what's going on between everybody's lives behind closed doors? Nobody knows. People hide gambling addictions from the partners, from the families, any addiction, because they're embarrassed by it, they're ashamed by it. And I mean, Tonali's not going around gloating, being like, going around the training ground, look at this lads, won €500 last weekend, what about that? He's hiding it. Do you know what I mean? It's because it's not about money at that point. And Jamie's not understanding how serious it is, I don't think, the gambling addiction and everything, because he's kind of brushing in the cotton, being like, well, they made a mistake, tough on them, like, shame that, innit? Should have done, like when we referred and said that if Newcastle fans wanted to sign players, then they should get in their own pockets and help out Mike Ashley. Remember that back in the day? That outrageous comment? Another stupid comment made about Newcastle United and their club and what they should do. I mean, it's bonkers to say that Tonali, we didn't do the due diligence, so tough cookies, you can't replace him. What? How mad is that? It doesn't make any sense for me. Like I said, you're never going to be able to find out everything about everyone, every little detail. How could we have possibly known about something that was going on in his private life, and how would you even go about checking that? Obviously we're going to do character checks and everything else from the training ground, the coaches and AC Milan, and you know, meet with the players, representatives and everything else, but they're not going to reveal something like a gambling addiction, are they? Oh, thanks for this 5-year deal and 160 grand a week and paying Milan £55 million, but just thought I'd let you know, probably going to be suspended soon for a year. Not going to do it, is he? And obviously he didn't know. I don't think Tonali knew maybe the extent of what was going to happen to him, or that the case was so impending, you know what I mean, that it was coming very soon, that it would be that lengthy and how quickly it happened. I mean, I don't see Jamie Carragher saying Brentford can't replace Ivan Toney. Do you know what I mean? I don't see things like that. I think it's a real stab in the dark, and on my Twitter when I put it out there, everyone was suggesting, oh, it's Jamie Carragher, he's scared of Newcastle running up on Liverpool, he's scared of this break into the big six, the top four being disrupted, he doesn't want it to happen. And honestly, it doesn't make sense. The whole thing was shocking, what Carragher said for me. It was outrageous, it was stupid, it was ridiculous. Because please let me know in the comments, I'd love to know. I would love to know how we are meant to find out about each and every player you sign, their personal life. How on earth are you going to do that? So whenever a club signs a player, what kind of background checks are we doing? How far are we going here? Are we going back to primary school bullying days? Are we going back to high school drinking when they were 15, before they were drinking in parks before they're taking drugs, or they're gambling, or they're shagging prostitute? I don't know what we're doing here. How we're finding out what you're doing? Because again, like I said, even if you took Tonali's phone off him, or you somehow had access, which again, pretty illegal, to check out the search history, the gambling sites or whatever, those background checks would have been pretty impossible to do, because I very much doubt Sandro Tonali was logging in to his betting account with his actual name and his actual bank details. In these sort of cases, it's normally a friend or somebody else that is placing the bets. That's normally how it's happening. And it's only slipped because obviously he was telling Italian teammates about it, they overheard it or maybe seen him doing it, and then they got involved as well and they were blaming him for it. So, you know, it's not going to come out that easy. It's not going to be so black and white to be able to tell if someone's betting, or if someone has an addiction, or if someone has a problem. I just kind of get my head around them saying that I think I get him maybe saying that we shouldn't be allowed to sign Neves on loan because he was saying he was a £50 million player and they just bought him for nearly £50 million. At that point, is that fair? Well, it's up to the clubs, isn't it, really? It's up to the clubs, it's up to the owners. It's never been a problem for years, has it? Watford, Udinese and all these other linked clubs. So it's up to the clubs, really. But on a slight note, you can get that where he's saying, listen, he didn't say this, maybe he should be saying they can get him if they pay the £50 million for him. But would love to do that, Jimmy, to be fair. It wouldn't be a problem. Richest club in the world. However, financial fair play would stop us doing that. Everton. Does he want Newcastle to get deducted points? I think so. So I don't think that Newcastle can just go in there, and it's a way of doing it. Maybe we could sign Neves for 6 months on loan and then look for an obligation to buy. But the reason we're looking at loans is because of FFP, and we don't want to go down that route that Everton's went down of breaking rules and stuff. So it's a long one. I could go on for a lot longer, but I can't be arsed. I've got things to do. We've got a live show at 7 PM tonight. I'll talk about it more on there. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments will be chatting away about that one as well. But let me know right now in the comments below what yous made of Jamie Carragher's comments and everything else about Tonali, the Saudi Arabian stuff, the ban that didn't get approved by the Premier League on associated clubs signing their own players, and the sponsors. And anything else yous want, drop it below. Give this one a big like, please, people. Subscribe to my channel TV, and I'll see yous on the next one.